Alright, let's see. I think I'm live. Let me double check everything is working out. Because I think we had a countdown or something today. G'day Brian, Solo Spirit, Tamsin and Anders. Lord Scimitar, hi. Welcome to the stream. Let me just refresh my chat so I'm not missing anything here. And someone let me know if the audio is coming through alright. It should be. But I'm not. There we go. There's my face. That's my face right there. Audio is coming through. Great. So, hi everyone. Ben here from Second Dynasty. We make 3D printable starships. And wow, I can't believe we're finally here. We're at the point in time where I get to work on what I want to work on. It has been a while. Before we get started, I wanted to do a little bit of news, I guess, whilst we're waiting for people to stream in. We are back to our regular programming, which is, of course, Friday afternoons. Hey, Starship I am, Fiery Phoenix, Thomas Merrick, welcome, and Shergol. Nice to see the familiar faces. So yeah, before we get started and what I'm going to show you what I'm working on. This last week we have had a couple of releases. We wrapped up, I guess it's actually been a week now since the end of February. And we had, of course, a very successful sale, very successful tribes and end the campaign for the Transport Delta 2400 series. There are links to those things in the description of this video. While you're at it, looking at it, why not like and subscribe if you are not already, since I'm pretty bad at asking those questions. I promise today I'll be a little bit more in the chat. I said July because it's a very August occasion. It might just be the fact that we have a really sunny day for the first time in a long time. We've had a couple of days where it's still cold. It's like 1 degree or something like that Celsius, but the sun is out. It's nice on your face. It's sort of like the first inclination that the days are getting longer again, because during the winter, like at Christmas time, we only get about 5 hours of sunlight. A good bit of that is more like twilighty light. So yeah. Hey, John's here. Welcome, John. Am I supposed to sing a song? Oh, you wanted... Oh, okay. You wanted to sing a song and Alvin will sing it for you. He's currently cleaning, so maybe later. But yeah, in this last week, we had the finish of that. I want to thank everyone for participating. You guys raised about $25,000 for the company so that we can continue to develop our next project, which is the No-Stromo, or part 1 of it. Of course, that's just a project name. I'm not modeling the Nostromo from Alien. What I'm doing is I'm creating I'm using the design language of Alien and the Alien universe to create an original ship and its shuttle. And we'll be starting with the shuttle, which I'll show you in a little bit. Right now, I've got my semiotics sort of opened up and was just making a couple of variants on this that I might need just whilst passing the time. And hey, Pulsifier's here as well. Nice. So many friendly faces. Great to see. But we did manage to get some releases whilst I've been working on this. We've both sorted out our mapping situation, and we have... let me back up. At the end of, I think it was 2022, when we finished the Beowulf campaign, which is an official Traveller Starship design, we had we had promised deck plans, and as one of our lower tier pledge levels for people that didn't own a 3D printer, we were going to make deck plans from our models, and we were working with a guy, Dalton, who very great, very diligent, but works in a very complicated way to sort of future-proof, the thought was, so that many more deck plans could easily be made. Basically, he takes out renders, breaks it down, and then reconstitutes it all in some elaborate process that I don't quite fully understand. So we could have VTT maps and PDF maps based on those. So I haven't had much contact with Dalton lately, and he went quiet for about a month or so, and I got caught up with him over the weekend and found out the reason why. I was fearful that something had happened. I know he has a very high stress job, and it turns out he does have a I need to choose my words carefully here out of respect, but he said it was okay to mention the fact that he has a long-term illness, and consequently we cannot say that we could deliver what we originally had intended to deliver on any predictable timeline whatsoever. Having said that, I've got at least a lot to go through all the files that we have, analyze what we originally promised, because I think we did have a bit of feature creep there too, and we're trying to see what we can do to deliver what we initially promised, even if it's not quite as wonderful as what the full product was going to be, and hopefully that will satisfy the remaining deck plan backers, and if not, if people are upset, I'm sure it won't be everyone. We will offer a limited refund, and I say limited in the sense of we still have delivered deck plans. They might not be fully everything that we had originally intended, so a partial refund might be suitable. If it was included in a higher pledge, you pledged for STL files, it already was kind of like a free bonus, so there won't be any pledge adjustments for that. And ideally, we'd love to be in a situation where those backers are actually just happy with what we've been able to produce. Of course, the deck plans isn't really our wheelhouse. I mean, I can use Photoshop and stuff, but this was not the intention. The deck plans has been a bit of a fiasco in the sense of just even getting the renders in the first place took a lot more time than we thought. We probably spent about 7 weeks internally on all of that, which I kind of, if I'd have known that in the first place, I would never have promised it. In any case, that's kind of the situation that we got into. So that's in the process of being resolved. We'd like to get that out by the end of the month. As I mentioned, Lisa is working on it, and at the moment she is focusing on getting the gig out. So that will be taking the gig files we do have, getting it to the right scale, exporting PDFs so we can have poster maps with a 1-inch grid on it, and so on, with a couple of different backgrounds like we originally promised. So that's where we're at. We're trying... You're not happy because of your wife, Fiery Phoenix? I hope she's not on here. I'm very happy with my wife. No, I am. But in any case, I just wanted to show off what we do have for this week. And Albin has managed to... We're still working on the instead models. I don't know if John has an update in text. I don't know how many ships he's managed to get done. This is one of those things where, sometimes it takes a little bit more time than we were expecting due to the format conversion, and then getting that into a printable state where it looks like, you've got hull panels and that sort of thing. So this week we were able to release, for our Traveller Smallcraft campaign, one of the last remaining stretch goals, which is the hard points. Now, we didn't really visualize the hard points very much at all. But I talked to Albin, and what we decided on is that we needed to, let me switch to the close-up. We needed to just add these, he chose to take the rings from our small craft and just add these little holes, notches in them really, which you can add these, oh, that's a bit stubborn to get out, which is good, it's nice and tight. But these little pegs, which are a separate object, which you can then attach weapons to, like so. So this is one of the turret weapons we had on the Beowulf. So he's made the peg holes for all three types of cockpit slash cab, and I think there are three different positions, and we have then exported like a bunch of missiles. I think this one is a sandcaster, if I'm not mistaken, and you can just attach them to these points for fixed weapons. Now, these will probably get a bit loose over time. They're not made to, do everything imaginable. So that's an option. There we go. It actually focused for once. Nice. And once again, I need to cut my freaking nails. Anyway, so that's be the case. And then we also, thanks to the community, can't remember who it was exactly who modeled it, but someone did like these turrets on the roofs. So we have ceiling variants with turret rings in them. If you wanted to, you could add an airlock door instead if you have those parts. But you could add a turret to your small craft. So now you can either have fixed weapons or a single turret as per the Traveller rules. So that is out now. I think it got released yesterday properly. So we have had this nice little, at least one a week thing, and I think the only thing that remains is there's some additional seating configurations we needed for the passenger module, and then which you could customize into the four standard modules. I think the idea was to put like a passenger section in the cargo bay, basically, and yeah, we're just trying to fulfill what we promised, and I'm basically got John and Albin on that stuff. So, let's see, John said, John, I actually cleaned last week, believe it or not. So, and to be fair, I pay people's wages so they can clean. And John, you were good at cleaning when you were here, unlike Martin, who just mostly makes mess. Let me switch back to the scene camera at the moment, and then let's see. The Shadow Lagger is impressed by your shuttle. Great. Let's talk about that in just a second. Okay, so I've shown off a couple of times my concept for the No-Stromo. We're not actually going to sit and work on semiotics today, because that's not so fun. We have our Ron Cobb style semiotics here, which is sort of based off the ones he designed for the film Alien. We've done a couple of iterations ourselves. There have since been some Alien Isolation editions. They're rather hard to find on the web. We do have a nice big semiotic standard poster. It sadly doesn't really describe what all the new ones are, but and then we have the Traveller semiotics, which are actually from official Traveller. There's some kind of documentation with them, and I think we made one or two ones that didn't exist. I think like the Spanner one, maybe. I'm not sure. And then we had some other suggestions there when I wasn't quite sure. I think this is an attempt at life support, and this was like they're all attempts at life support actually, and maintenance or something like that. But we ended up just going with this is actually the life support one there. I read a little bit closer and so on. Anyway, we're not talking about Traveller today. We're actually leaving Traveller behind for a bit. Our next major things we're looking at doing is a physical print run of the Delta stuff. Probably also the Stalwart. We're thinking a Kickstarter. John's going to deliver for that one. The Alien RPG players approve of the No-Stromo. I'm running Alien at the moment. Well, actually, Colonial Marines campaign, and I'm having a lot of fun. And last night, it was especially fun. They managed to run into a predator. They killed it too quickly. It was a choice between flaming it or an emerging face. A chest burster, and they chose to kill the chest burster. which let the Predator actually get off its self-destruct system, and yeah, it was a very interesting session, which ended with them being captured by the UPP, which is basically space Soviets in the Alien universe. So let's talk briefly, let me build this up, about what we're actually working on. So long-term plans, very large ship with the No-Stromo, which is probably about 2 foot by 2 foot by 1.5 feet. So quite a large, maybe 65 to 70 centimeter long vessel, quite chunky. We're going to build it in such a way that we could mount it on like a metal brace. So I eventually envisage trying to recreate the feeling of that Nostromo landing sequence. And yeah, we are ready to... What are we ready to do? It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly, but I would say that's a long-term project with a release window of about September to October. So around about the time when we usually launch a large campaign for the year. Of course, that's going to be a bit meatier, and we have to survive in between now and then. So it's possible we will do some character miniatures with Traveller. It's possible we'll do some more print runs. But our next major campaign is going to be an original campaign. And just like the Nostromo, our No-Stromo, of course that's not the name, it's just a project name, right? Like the Notanante was not, was the Sleipnir's name, right? It needs a shuttle. And so we're going to start with a shuttle, something that's going to be useful for Alien RPG players. Like, I've been thinking about this because, like, the Alien RPG is a theater of the mind, more cinematic module style thing. But if you're playing the campaign, especially if you're playing Colonial Marines, it is a lot more combat oriented, and I think it would be more fun to run that as a tactical one. So I'm kind of like in the process of adapting a few rules, like just increasing the damage by 1 of all the weapons, and working out the rules for how to place it on tactical combat instead. It does have, like, the RPG is designed to make the aliens extremely difficult, and they represent more like the alien in the film Alien in 1979, not the James Cameron Aliens, which is, you know, Marines against hordes of these things. And obviously they fire a burst at an alien and it explodes. You can't really do that within the rules. So some adjustments are necessary. Then, of course, there is an Alien board game, I think, with miniatures that this might be useful for. So there is some crossing over. So we're quite early in the design process for the shuttle. Let me show it to you. So this is it. Let me just isolate this by itself, and we can switch that over. So I don't have a name for it yet. I have a basic layout. The top is roughly modeled out. It's a total of about, I think, 13 inches or 13 squares from bow to aft. And what I have actually done is I'm trying to capture the spirit of the Narcissus, which is the shuttle that Ripley escapes on at the very end of the original film. Spoiler alert for a 44-year-old film. And yeah, I just want to create that, so it's going to have some hypersleep chambers. Just saying that if you were going to make larger semiotics that people could print off and put around their house, that'd be neat. Yeah, I don't want to do the Ron Cobb ones though. Like, my interpretation in 3D as it is kind of, like, it is simplified compared to the originals, but it's already, like, as close as I get to the line of bordering on, you know, the difference between using design language. And again, that is a theme I'm going to be using here. We are not copying the Narcissus. We're not trying to make something like, you know, this absolutely beautiful bug stomper APC. That's not my design, it's a free design on my Mini Factory, but this is like literally a clone of that. Our APC will remind you heavily of that, but it's stylistically different enough that, you know, if Disney comes a knocking, we've got a pretty strong argument to say, hey, yeah, it's inspired by it, but this is, you know, it's not a copy. It's designed to fill a function in that universe. So this is designed to look similar to a Star Cub shuttle from Lockmart. But maybe this is from a competitor, maybe this is from someone else, and it's also meant to celebrate the artist who created the original design, which is Ron Cobb. So a technique that you can use, and I have used, is creating an artboard. So this is my artboard for this ship. So I have taken a bunch of designs, and actually I'll just, can I move that over a little bit, because I think my face is in front of the most pertinent design, the one behind me there. You can basically see, well, that's just not, oh, sorry, there's actually more that's visible on the stream. So yeah, my face is in the way, but this one up in the corner behind me is a part of the inspiration for this. So this was one of Ron Cobb's original designs for a shuttle / escape pod. The one down the bottom here is his final design, looking much like the Narcissus. This is the Narcissus model used in the film, and this is where like the modelers take that design and interpret it using kit bashing to create this. It does have a couple of issues. I think the Ron Cobb one looks like it has a lot more RCS clusters, reaction control system, so thrusters for maneuvering. And the Narcissus has, this is possibly one at the top. I think vaguely you can see one here, but this is missing, like this section on the side is actually for hooking up to the No-Stromo. You can kind of see the rungs there. And then I've taken some interior shots as well. This is from Alien Isolation, this is from the actual film, or the set of the film, I'm not sure. So I'm trying to set up and get inspiration for what this thing is going to look like. So in function, it's going to be roughly that kind. So if we look again at what I've made, it kind of combines some of those designs together. We do have an interior that we can look at. I just need to maybe remove some of these. So let's just move that over, and we can look down inside. So we have a very, very basic layout. One of the issues with the original shuttle is they couldn't use it straight away because it only fit 3. Although in the actual set design they only had 2 hypersleep chambers. So here we've got enough for 7 crew, which is, you know, seems reasonable. We would have about that much on our No-Stromo. That's how many were on the No-Stromo. The NoStreamo, I mean. So, hi Eric, hi Brian, and yeah, you've cobbled together an artboard. Yes, that's correct. That's right. Much like the Deltas have the CEC design language. Corellian Engineering Corporation. Yes, exactly. So design language is a fancy way of saying it fits into that universe. It looks and feels like it could belong, but you're not outright copying something. There is a fine line there between something original and something that's derivative. But as of today, we've never actually been taken to court about anything. But yeah, you can kind of see the layout. So put these squares in. Each square approximates 1 inch or 1.5 meters at scale. These are not the... I'm going to be redoing the hypersleep chambers. I want them to be actually able to fit miniatures. You know, we need the control panels and that. And then because I was just thinking, okay, this is going to be a smaller campaign if this is what we're doing. I don't know how to price this ship yet. It is approximately the same size as a Shuttle Alpha Mark IV, well, lengthwise. It actually would be interesting to see how big they are scale-wise. I can't quite remember. Let me see. This was our. I can go to our old campaigns here. If I just go view all, and then I go way back to Starship 3, view the project, we should be able to look and see a graphic of Shuttle Alpha, and it should say the lengths here. So, yeah, this is the Mark II, or actually this is the Mark II. So this is 13 inches long, which is the exact same length as this. But of course, here you're also dealing with these little bits and pieces jutting out. So interior-wise, it's actually quite a bit larger. Here you've got a 4x4 square area. Then you've got like a 3x4, 3x2 square area, and then you have the cockpit. Whereas in our version here, if I just again, I should probably remove that roof again. You have, this would be a 4x4 area here, and then you have these sort of like extra little areas. So one of these will be our suit room. You've got access to it. This is actually a traveler style air system, although it looks like I've left in the alien semiotics on it, so I can't remember if that was actually an accident or not. Oh yeah, no, this one is from Odyssey. So yeah, we took the one that we had on the Beowulf, and we sort of built a more generic version of it. So I'm going to be changing out the semiotics. The reason why I was working with the semiotics is because these need to change. At the moment, it's mostly a block out. This is going fast for me. The new interior probably will take some time to establish. But it's going so fast that it got me thinking, and actually we'll delete that layer, we don't need that, that's just messing up my scene. So let's just move these back over. And then, yeah, so we have this issue where we've got a ship that will be selling for like, I don't know, let's see, what did we sell the Space Shuttle Alpha for? We sold it for 225 Swedish crowns, which was at the time approximately $25 US. And so now we probably sell it for about, I want to say closer to 30. So we need to offer Kickstarter prices that are cheaper. And then once they hit my mini factory, that's when we do the price jump. And I would be inclined to set the price at, about the same. I don't know if we're going to go for a 20 euro pricing. Again, like now this is in Swedish crowns. We can do Swedish crowns, but it feels like euros is better because it's pretty close to the dollar. People can estimate how much it's going to cost. Doesn't look as exotic as when it's in SEK. I mean, what is SEK? I know it's a Swedish krona, but do you? Does anyone else? Hey, Eric. So yeah, pricing wise, you can do the math. We would have to sell a hell of a lot of these at $20 to make a big enough dent that we can essentially survive long enough to get out the larger ship. And then of course, the larger ship itself, let me turn on the levels, and we should be able to see it. Oh, it's very, very large and chunky. Let's isolate that. So this is kind of like what we're working with for the time being, and where the shuttle's going to go on the ship. So we do have the block out happening. I'm trying to figure out where all the passengers and rooms are going. Normally I have this see-through so you can kind of see the floor, but you can kind of see the scale of the ship. If that's 13 inches long, see what I mean? That this is over 2 feet. It's going to be a chunky beast of a ship. It'll probably be slightly wider than a Beowulf. I'd imagine it's going to be quite heavy. It's going to have like a cargo bay where you'll have a rover or something. And then we're looking to sort of synchronize our our tribes releases, so that towards the time where we're putting this out, maybe we'll have like new power loaders, or the kind of vehicles that they had in the back. Like there's something like a flying bed or something that they had in Alien that they designed. There's like this helicopter like jumper thing. Maybe we'll do something in that direction. At least you aren't pricing in ZAR. I don't even know what ZAR is. To be honest, I would have to look that up. But you can kind of see the scale of how big that ship is going to be, which is why we need the time. And we also need to kind of use the shuttle as a jumping off point, so that, it helps because it's like building up a library of assets that we need for the larger ship, aside from the ones we already have. Like, obviously, our original styles already are quite No-Stromo-like, and this is probably the look we're going for, so it feels like it fits in the universe, but it's not an exact replica of everything. So, yeah, this ship is going to be massive, but if I turn these things off again, so we have that challenge ahead of us. So obviously, unless we sold a lot more than what we normally do, and I think we struggled having campaigns above 500 backers. Our best ever was Sleipnir, but Sleipnir was also the last time we did a campaign that was, our original content, even if it's Expanse-styled and the Expanse was still big. I've planned this around the idea of, hey, Alien is coming out later this year with a new film, Alien Romulus. It's meant to come out in August, so if I launch this campaign in September and October, hopefully I can sort of ride off the coattails of that. And if we get this out for, I think April 26th is Alien Day. It would be kind of cool if we could get to a point where we could launch that for April 26th. I don't know if it'll work out or not, because we do have our physical print run to consider. But basically the idea is that this campaign and the physical print campaign, and possibly a Traveller Miniatures campaign, character miniatures, but that would require us to work with a bunch of artists. So it wouldn't be so much as we do that in-house, as I think it's possible that we might be able to talk to Mongoose a bit more about that and see what's possible insofar as like making some miniatures based off of their designs. Would be something that I would be hoping for in a future collaboration or something like that. I don't know if it's going to happen on that timeline or not. It does mean getting into that project and organizing it. But that would be our Traveller thing for the year. And it would be optimal if we put that out in like June or July, around the time when we're going on holidays, because there won't be too much work for us. Organizing it and keeping it going, and that is a lot of work, but being able to work with sculptors to get the final product out and sort of use those funds to budget some of that, and all of that are ways that we can keep the lights on while we make this large ship. And then hopefully that large ship will be able to provide for the next 4 to 6 months after that campaign's finished. We're always on this roller coaster, and it does feel like there are diminishing returns in this area. The market is just getting so flooded. People's economies are not always that stable. Will they buy a larger ship? I hope so. They have in the past. But then we also have an opportunity to resell this shuttle. So how do we help bring that up and create value for people? In the past, we've done it with additional, just so many stretch goals that people are like, they have to hop on it. But then it's like, you get a bunch of stretch goals, and we're pricing this for like, say, we priced it for $25, but you got all the stretch goals for that particular ship in Starship 3. Let's see, I think there are 7 for each ship. Let's see, for the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8, 9, yeah, 10 in total. 10 stretch goals for that $25. On top of that, for a ship that then we then sell for 30. It's a stupidly good deal, but that's not what people look at first, right? Oh, South African rand. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's hard setting prices, especially when expectations have changed. And I can tell you our costs have gone up tremendously. Inflation is nuts at the moment. I know our rent went up 10% last year and then like 4% this year. Those things is good, and you know, I need to be able to pay my workers and myself really a little bit more by the end of the year, so that, you know, we can make ends meet. So to account for this, I've had the idea of using a ship that basically uses the same design. I'm not going to necessarily keep this window upstairs, and there's a couple of ideas in here. This is something that I think Shadow Liger suggested using, the old Sleipnir RCS system. I do have like a workshop where I previously had these sorts of thrusters on the side. I might leave them there. I think we'll put a clip point here in between these two parts. I'm not entirely sure just yet. But the idea is we're trying to create this so it is expandable. So you could lengthen this ship, you could widen this ship. And then the ultimate expression of that is a double-sized version of the ship. I really don't kind of like the top window. I don't think it works. But this one, for example, is a 3-deck variant. So we could quite easily have, I think we'd have split levels to take advantage of this shape. It is giving me some nightmares. How far can we get this into the campaign? Can it be done in that kind of timescale? I don't know. My goal is going to be finishing off this one, and then if I got time over, we move to this one. So this one should be a fully printed and painted thing that we can show off. Whereas this one will probably just be finished concepting, I would say, by the time that we release. So I would hope that the actual ship is printable by the end of the campaign. Although basically when we start the campaign, we've got 5 weeks until we're at the stage where we want to deliver, assuming we're running a 21-day campaign. And I'd much rather run a 21-day campaign. 2 weeks is probably a bit too little. A whole month is too much, and doesn't make enough of a difference. So, yeah. The window, I think, could be a stretch goal. Not everyone's going to like that. And yeah, this is just basically concepts. I like the offset bridge idea, although I might put an extra window in there. This is a much larger ship than it appears. It is probably getting close to comparable to a Type S. It is actually taller than a Type S. You could actually fit 3 decks stacked on top of each other with actually some more standing space than a Type S. And that's due in part to the fact that it has this wider central section. So I think technically it'll probably be made in such a way that if you wanted to, you could just squish this all together and have it be this sort of like straight arrow. But yeah, I kind of like the way it's shaped. I'm still trying to think of names for this. The Narcissus is a Star Cub class vessel. So maybe having a cheeky name that reminds you of a creature that has cubs. I'm trying to think of that. Bears have cubs, lions have cubs, tigers have cubs. Oh my. So something like the Ursa, like the Ursa Minor and the Ursa Major. I don't know. That kind of has a star feeling to it. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really love it as a name, to be honest. So I was going to have these RCS supports here. I've instead built them in. Believe it or not, this thing is the exact same size as that one. It's just because it's exposed, it feels more noticeable. Anyway, let me have a look at the chat and see what you guys are saying, aside from talking about South African Rand. Rent increases are capped at 2.5 in Ontario for now. Well, that's nice. That's very nice. Always like an expandable module. That's good. Who was saying that? I don't see a name attached to that. In any case, that blasted Camouflage says, will be blocky engines be separate pieces, or will it be incorporated into the hull? Good question. I think I was going to make them as separate items, but I don't quite know yet, because it would be nice to have some different engine styles. Like the actual Narcissus, I don't think we can see it here. This has sort of like a roundish engine. I kind of went with this style, but the actual Narcissus, we can't see it there, but it has like, in this little box, it probably has about a row of 5x5 or something like that, smaller thrusters. So we might add some options in that way. So I would prefer to build it in such a way that we can at least switch out the engine types. Maybe make these a little bit more rounded or curvy, or, you know, that sort of thing. Raccoons have cubs. Cruiser is not a word I would use, because like in a ship context, I think more like a capital ship cruiser. So my concept for this larger ship is, okay, a Star Cub can travel at interstellar speeds, but not very far. It was a bit of a lucky accident that Ripley survived for 57 years in one of these things and drifted through the core systems. But yeah, the idea here is this is meant to be more of an escape pod, or maybe like a ship you would use to land on a planet if your larger ship doesn't have, like a shuttle, right? I mean, it is a shuttle. But it's not really made for long distance, and it has limited supplies. That's why there's hypersleep chambers in there for a reason, right? So that the crew doesn't need that many supplies, even when traveling at, you know, sub-light speeds. So this ship will be more about, okay, well, the No-Stromo is a space tug. There are, at least in the Alien RPG, a lot of classifications on different ships. If that is approximately twice the size, and this is 13 inches, this would be 25, which puts it us at about 40 meters, I would say. 26, something like that. It is comparable, actually, in length to a Type S, now that I think about it. Most alien ships are all engine. We're not going to quite do it like that. We want this to be a playable space. Hyanide. I mean, we might go for some sort of Greek name. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah, good suggestions there. The trash panda. Was there ever an image of the ship that found the Narcissus floating through the core? That'd be a neat ship and scenario. The salvage ship, you only see like a clump of it. It kind of comes into view when it's already very close. And I've looked it up, and that was the intention. So there's no image of what that entire vessel looked like whatsoever. Just like where they were linking it on. Although a nice bit of trivia is, Have you ever wondered why they cut through the airlock door? So Aliens opens up, spoiler alert, with the scene of the Narcissus floating through space, being completely frozen. A salvage ship appears atop of it. Oh, look at me, I forgot to close off my web programmer again. And probably, actually, now that I think about it, what is all this? Go away, taskbar settings. There we go. I was looking for Dropbox there just to stop syncing until the end of the day so we don't get up any more annoying messages. So, yeah, that should be turned off now. Yeah, but, okay, so the idea with this ship being, it should be fairly modular and expandable. And when I say that, I just mean like this sort of section here, which is like, I think 2 inches wide. You could just repeat it. You could potentially add a straight up middle deck, because this is a straight line. And you could add, an additional inch or two to the width there, and then customize the interior as you like. So this one is kind of more like a, I guess, probably similar to the, I want to say it's similar to the Chimera in the sense that it's meant to be a little bit more modular. Now the overall shape, not really. I have tried to stick to a grid, but it's not super repeatable. If you want repeatable patterns, you're kind of limited to the angles that you got to take, and some of them look quite ugly. So this thing I envisage as being like, okay, a space tug, sure, 330 meters, that's insane, and then carrying like a miles long cargo platform that has a refinery on it. In this case, we have a ship that is like, if you take the concept of the shuttle, but say, okay, now I want this to be a proper interstellar ship, something for like shuttling small groups of colonists, or that like Weyland-Yutani might use to send their executives on a mission, or that sort of thing, or a company like that rather. So just like an interstellar ship, probably like FTL 12, if you are familiar with the Alien RPG, like a Narcissus would have like an FTL speed of 20, that being it takes 20 days to cover a parsec. And this one would be, obviously I wasn't going that fast when Ripley got in it, and it doesn't have that kind of range, so in any case, yeah, that's kind of the concept, and I'm thinking like this lower area is a double deck cargo area, because that way we could actually fit some cargo loaders in there, in these little nooks, I figure. So something like that. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Any chance of writing a module to go with the No-Stromo for the RPG? I mean, that's not a bad idea, although I don't know what Fria Ligan's rules are concerning that, or if like in Traveller I literally have a license for it. Fria Ligan, they are a wonderful Swedish role-playing company, and if I thought it was possible to actually go to them and say, hey, can I make this an official Alien product, I would probably do that. But then I also would probably end up spending a year on these ships instead of 6 months, trying to actually make it look more like Alien, which I think is a mistake. And then the other thing too is they don't own the license for Alien, they've licensed it themselves. And whilst it probably is entirely possible to license for Alien, I think it would be complicated with the STL files, because we can't guarantee it won't be copied. And it would be quite expensive to set up that license. It would be like a multi-year project. And even then, it's like, what happens when we lose a license? How much we have to pay? I think John has given me some rough ideas about what Disney costs and takes percentage-wise. But I'd be worried about upfront costs as well. Like if we just have to pay like $100,000 to do it, there's just no way. We would have to get like a business loan, entirely possible, but massive, massive gamble that I don't think we can deal with. Piper used to make a very famous cub that is a favorite of bush pilots. Okay. Oh, an airplane type? Hey, Stephanie. So yeah, I'm excited about this stuff. As you can maybe tell. So when I've worked on Traveller, I do have a passion for Traveller. It's not that. But in my brain, I'm like, I have to make this work for Traveller, for these existing deck plans, and make something that people think is cool, that I think is cool, add my own flair to the aesthetics of Traveller. And then, we end up in a situation where it takes extra time because I'm trying to work to those constraints. And a lot of those deck plans just don't make sense in a 3D space. Here I have creative freedom. So what I did do first is figure out what that interior space was going to be like. And then, we can kind of like get into the cab, see what it's going to be like. This is kind of like the block out for a computer game, right? So we'll have our control systems there. You can kind of see how the windows are. We've got some space in the attic, probably not going to be used for much. Might add a crawl space or something like that, I don't know. But I figure this is mostly engines and sensors and cooling systems and whatnot. So we've got our main cabin, and then we need to block it out for this thing as well. And I'm only going to do this if it makes sense time-wise. Because this is going to have to be done in big chunks. I think, though, because it should be able to sit better by itself just on these engines. So I might have some landing gear or something that I put in. Not sure. A cargo bay, I've kind of been experimenting at the back here with like dropping down that hole and working with the shapes. I wasn't entirely sure. You can kind of see here the whole mess of different variants I've tried. This was the original version. I'm really glad we've moved on from that. I did not like that at all. And then, yeah, the Muse hit. Actually, maybe that's a source, because I think, wasn't Narcissus's mother one of the muses or like a nymph or something? So maybe going like off different muse names or something like that could be a cool little thing, because like this is like working in this environment where I can have creative control of the product. I work a lot faster. Like you've seen what I've done with the Stalwart. The Stalwart probably still represents about 6 weeks worth of work all up. But considering the fact that it is a fairly large ship, by the end of it, like it's larger than this thing. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could have like a Stalwart interface, so you just stick this on top of the Stalwart body? Combined franchises. Let's see. Any chance of... sorry, let's go. I think we were at the point where Stephanie said, hi, landing ramp out the front or for support. I wasn't thinking out the front, because I think you would have to drop down from all of this way to get a suitable ramp. It might not be the worst idea. I'll have a think about it. It does look cool. But then also you would have to put the cargo bay the whole way, and like I said, I think we need this to be like a split level thing. So you could have more of a cargo bay at the back. But I'm not going to discount it at the moment. So Stephanie asks, I'm guessing you're not strictly following the plan of Daedalus then? I don't know what Daedalus means to you. For me, I associate it with Macross mostly, and I can't remember in Greek myth what Daedalus was all about. But also, obviously, those Greek names have been popular in the franchise with, you know, Prometheus, Narcissus. I can't remember what the other Star Cub was called. It's either that or it's Conrad novel names. Let's see. The Nostromo only had one, having used one and left it elsewhere. Yes, the other shuttle was in dry dock. Urania is another source of jokes, yes. Urania, yes. The Bison... Was the other one called Daedalus, though? I don't think it was. It doesn't sound right. So yeah, you have... When I think of Prometheus, I think of Daedalus because the ships that attached to the Macross were named that. And the Daedalus was the one full of destroids, which they rammed into other ships and then opened it up, and the destroids fire their missiles, and yeah, great anime action from the 80s. Two different versions of this parentage, either the son of a river god and a nymph, or the son of a lunar goddess, Selene, and the mortal Endymion. I'd love of the shuttle docked in the front of the larger ship you're working on, though I do like the side set hole. Not entirely sure I follow all of that, blasted. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of what I'm working on this week. And again, if I just show off what we're aiming for by the sort of third quarter of the year here. And that kind of gives an impression of how big this ship would be. So if this is a foot long, this is 2 feet by 2 feet by 1.5, and then you've got the No-Stromo being, you know, an order of magnitude larger than that again. So we're kind of like, this is like doubling the size, and what is it? For every doubling of size, you're basically increasing the volume by 8, something like that. So a lot more floor space, 3 decks. This thing I think has 4 or 5, depending on how you count. So yeah, this will be a beastie, and definitely will need support rods. They are planned, and we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to go with the sort of like insect design. It should be reminiscent of Nostromo without feeling like you look at it first and go, oh, that's the Nostromo. Or some grognards that, you know, don't have the best memory might say it is the Nostromo. They would be wrong, but that is the idea we're sort of going for. So there'll be some kind of adapter here at the back. It will piggyback on this ship. And it's kind of like for the loyal people that back all our campaigns, you'll already have the shuttle ready to go. You won't have to get the sort of like higher level tier for the No-Stromo campaign. Obviously, though, that will be a very large ship, so pricing, I would expect that will be the big one for the year, right? So yeah, we're basically at 4 o'clock now. Any last questions before I go? We will be seeing a lot more of this. Looks like quite a mess at the moment, doesn't it? But if I turn off the Narcissus workshop there, and again, these are just working names, so no infringement on Disney's rights or anything like that are intended. So yeah, we're kind of just sort of mapping out where the, you know, the fusion plant will be, engineering, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to getting this one out. And yeah, the bridge will be, I like it being stuck on the bottom here. It creates a little bit more variance. But yeah, the intention is that we'll have a maze of different tunnels and areas for, you know, xenomorphs to hide in by the time we get this out. So, and then it would be nice to like work with maybe work out a deal with Papsicles or something like that. So we either have some new miniatures or can link to some of his products for that sort of stuff. Navigating Disney rights would be a Herculean task. Yeah, I think the issue is not that it's not possible. The Narcissus. I like that, Stephanie. Um, so yeah, navigating Disney rights would be a Herculean task. Nice Disney pun there. But I would say I don't think licensing per se is the issue. I think the issue is like what happens when that license expires? Can we no longer sell the STL files we've already made? How much does it cost to maintain and keep? And what kind of upfront costs are there? And then the other thing too, like we cannot guarantee that people can't pirate this. It's a digital product. How do they feel about that? Because will it be treated like licensing for a book or a toy, or will they treat it as like licensing for a video game? I don't know. And in any case, it's a much longer process. A fig jam. I've never heard a fig jam being used as a slang for a narcissist. Oh yeah, I guess it is. It means fuck, I'm good. Just ask me. But it's always said in a jesting way. So it is like it's actually an acronym. Much like WYSIWYG is like what you see, what is what you get. Disney is the black hole. Storage, come on, mate. Save that one for the kids. Alright guys, we're past 4 o'clock here. It is Friday afternoon. I have 4 beers in the fridge at home and I fully intend to open every single one of them tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and we will be back next week and you'll be able to see the evolution of this shuttle and where we're going to take it. But I hope you like the direction of the design. I'm excited about it. I think it looks really cool, if I do say so myself. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one in print. So, bye for now, guys. Bye. Oh, actually, it helps if I'm actually in OBS and can end the broadcast. So, yeah. Bye.